Okay, welcome back everyone to another episode of B2TEA. This is going to be episode 2, and I think we all have our mugs. Full disclosure, there's actually no tea in my mug. That's going to be an episode 3 specialty. But we're working on it. We're getting it together slowly. So I think the first topic that we're going to cover today is going to be data versus sentiment marketing. Or as I like to refer to sentiment marketing as like vibes marketing. So the basic battle lines that I've kind of drawn up, and then we can kind of explore if they're really even good battle lines to draw up, is that feels like there's a certain camp of people who do marketing that expect everything to have a measurable data-driven result. So even if you're doing, so anything that you're doing, you should be able to like measure that within data and then report that as, positive or negative increase. And then there does seem to be a camp that thinks that, hey, there are some things which are good marketing things to do that you can't necessarily accurately measure with the metrics that we have available. But that doesn't mean that they're bad, or that doesn't mean that even if some of the metrics might not be reflecting well, it doesn't mean that what you're doing is bad, and you kind of have to just sort of read the room in some way. Okay, so yeah, well, let's talk personally. Like, we have a marketing dashboard. That's something that Jane Marie does. There's a lot of data on there. What are we measuring?
We're measuring everything that we can, right?
Right.
So we're measuring how effective our paid media advertisements are. We're measuring the ratio of the amount of like impressions per clicks. We're measuring the brand sentiment of every single article in the news that has ever mentioned Movius or multi-line. We have a list of it, and we know if it portrayed us positively or negatively, and we can track that over time. We're measuring which pages of our websites are getting focused on, and on those websites, where are people clicking? Is there some particular part of the website that looks like a clickable button that people keep clicking on that is not actually something that's interactive? Because if so, the people who design the website need to know that. What else do we do, Melanie? How people get to the website. Are they Googling us? Are they typing the URL directly? Are they coming from paid media? All of this.
Bring up a really interesting point, which is the brand sentiment thing that we're measuring. Because I think that a lot of people might say that, hey, something's like brand sentiment is one of those things that falls in the vibes category. But we've actually are measuring it by basically looking at any time we're mentioned in a public facing thing that we can see, then we're basically analyzing the surrounding words of it or the context and reading it and basically saying, hey, this portrays us positively. We like the way that this portrays us, or negatively. And then we're tracking that over time. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yep. And the software that we use has AI tools that theoretically can say if our product is being portrayed positively or negatively. But the thing is that our AI, our solutions, multi-line, it solves a problem that it causes companies other problems, right? So if a company, for example, got fined and then our product was suggested as a solution for whatever happened at their company, the AI will sometimes track that as negative when it's actually positive. So part of my job is going back and reading articles and correcting that on our muck rack list before we make those brand sentiment articles for John.
Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. Do you think, just in like we don't have to get into specifics here, but do you think we have enough data points for it to be a meaningful trend?
Yeah, we do. We know that there were some concerns about our software previously, and we know that those have been addressed really well in our public-facing documentation. Like, people were concerned, and then we explained that our software doesn't really doesn't affect those things that they were concerned about. So it was we've gotten. I think that our brand sentiment went from 17 percentage points up in the past year. So kudos to all of you guys.
Well, on that point, we are able to get a lot of the data that Jane Marie talked about, but because we're B2B, we often do not have that direct connection to our end users. We're getting information about our end users from the companies that they work at. and sometimes our partner resellers who tell us about their customers who are reporting back on the end users. It's one of those things that we have to get clever in order to start to address, because it is important in the end, our end user experience.
And just a quick point on the privacy thing that Melanie brought up. Our app is so much more respectful to privacy than so many other apps out there. Like, the vast majority of apps are data mining you, or are data mining all of their users, and that's the function of the app, right? But our app does not do that. Our app has a complete like separation between what goes on in the app and what goes on in your daily life. And our app is something that's paid for by your business. So the method by which our company makes money is not by selling information about you. It's by selling a product to a company that then has you use that app. So it's a completely different business model, and it's not based on gathering personal information. So
absolutely. And I might show my hand a little bit here, but it does seem to me that data is a neutral thing on its own. It's neither good nor bad. It's all about the story that you can discern from it. And then, so in some sense, like, you could talk about in metaphor terms, like data being a skeleton and then the sentiment or whatever being the body that embodies it. And you can't really have one without the other in some way. I mean, you can sort of tell a story without the data, but how accurate is that going to be, to Melanie's point? So that's why, anytime that you can have focus groups, anytime that you can talk to real people and get sort of lots of stories and then sort of look at those and then discern kind of what the main principles from those are. Like, the way in which human beings just learn in general is through fables, through morals, through stories, is like a much more effective way than just sort of like giving people principles or like giving people data with no real like way in which to interpret that. So the more that you talk to people and not just sort of like look at like numbers and figures, I think the more accurate that you can use data to sort of like get those vibes going well.
So,
all right, so let's move on to our second question, which is a bit more lighthearted. And it's, what corporate branded swag items are quote unquote cool to receive, or what makes something a corporate item cool? Like, what are you looking to receive? And I can actually start here with something that I've always thought would be cool, but has some technical challenges. Is I always thought, especially for sort of more buttoned up events, having a very subtly branded blazer or sport coat for people to wear. So that becomes challenging because a lot of, why a blazer or something looks good is because of fit, and everyone sort of has a different fit. So it becomes hard to sort of do that on a mass scale. But I think for like certain very public figures, having a very nice little subtle blazer that they can put on over a sweater or put on over a shirt for those like high profile events would be something that would make other people go, hey, look, that's cool, that's good. And that is kind of the point of some of swag items, is when you wear it out in public, if somebody else is saying, hey, that's kind of neat, the item is kind of doing its job, I feel like.
We highly appreciate your efforts at getting us cooler and cooler swag, Sam. I'll tell you what, there are two swag items that I'm almost always happy to receive. And one is a mug. I love mugs. And it's hard to get too many mugs. You can get too many mugs, but you always need a company mug to drink your morning coffee in, okay? And then the other thing, I really love notebooks. Maybe a lot of people aren't using notebooks anymore because they use something on their phone. But for me, there's no replacement. So I love getting a nice branded Movius notebook to take some notes on.
Erika, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely someone that loves to receive things that are useful. So I agree with Sam. I personally never seen like a company branded blazer, but that would be awesome. We can be Movius as the first blazer on brand. But alongside with apparel, I enjoy jackets. I'm someone that's always cold, so having a jacket or a sweater is definitely a staple in terms of getting like company swag. That, and I agree with Jane Marie. Melanie. I agree. I love mugs. I can never have too many mugs. I think collecting mugs has been a weird obsession of mine. And it's also a nice nobility. Like, hey, I worked at this amazing company. We're changing the telecoms world. Let me go showcase.
I probably should point out at this point the elephant in the room. These Movius branded earrings. I decided one day I was going to print my own swag. I was really excited about, the upcoming kickoff call. And I was like, well, what would be really crazy? And I was like, if I showed up with some 3D printed earrings. And they made such a big splash with the company that everybody just wanted to talk about it. So I ended up making a bunch of little keychains. I was able to give those out to the Atlanta office last week. So that was really fun. And I was happy that people wanted the keychain.
I'm sorry, everyone loved your earrings. They were like the biggest meme, like for an entire week. Your LinkedIn post about your earrings got so much interaction. Everyone was like, oh, Melanie's earrings. And the CEO called a shout out to you because he liked your earrings.
Yep. It was my time to shine for sure.
Yeah, but that is something to note for sure, that earrings underexplored avenue of corporate expression. Probably same with other forms of jewelry. Like, I don't know if that's actually true, but I could envision like our logo mark specifically on like a very like slender bracelet or something that I think people would probably wear, especially to like events or things. That's a sort of like eye-catching thing that we should definitely be looking to do. So not only are your earrings cool, Melanie, and not only did they get a bunch of attention, they're also like an important like landmark in how we can expand our brand for sure.
So what I wanted to kind of address that point there about like maybe why we haven't seen corporate earrings in the past, which is that, there's change in the tide. It used to be that like big flashy earrings like this might be considered unprofessional, but you don't really have that kind of sentiment as much today. Maybe in some organizations, a lot of organizations have different cultures, but like a forward-thinking startup type organizations, very unlikely to have such norms. But the second thing is just chunky earrings in general are a recent trend. So, I wanted to hop on that trend when I created these. And
on it too, honestly. If you can send me a pair of clip-ons in that, I would absolutely wear them in a photo.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, and if anybody wants to know how, you could make 3D printed earrings with your company logo. We've got that post up on the blog. Just look for the 3D printed swag blog on Movius.ai.
Absolutely. We'll link that in the description, everyone. Absolutely. Shout out Melanie for not only making the earrings, but making it open source that anyone can do it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rating office spaces. So hopefully I got a good kind of like a variety of office spaces. So the game is just give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you have, a brief reason on why, absolutely. But if not, that's totally fine. So we'll start with office number 1. So nice open concept, big IMAX, looks like big windows coming in. What do we give this on a scale of 1 to 10?
7.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7 as well.
6.
6.
Actually, 5.
5.
5.
Because there are no double monitors in that picture.
Double monitors. Coming out strong in favor of double monitors.
I do like the style and the big windows. That's very neat. But there's no. I feel like it would be weird to have a double monitor in a space like this, and also there's no standing. I don't think. Oh well, are those standing? Can those desks go up and down? All right, I need my standing desk. Those look like wooden desks. I don't see any cubby. Like I need a classic file cabinet. Maybe not as much in this role as in previous roles, but I do I do like to have a nice place to put all my stuff.
Yeah, with a office space that open, it kind of gives the vibes of like sharing a bunk bed with like 27 of your cousins. I like the style, but in terms of the privacy, if like one person has a really messy desk because they're kind of scatterbrained, like me, oh, that's gonna annoy so many people around the office. They're gonna be like, clean your desk. I don't want to look at your mess. You'd be like, oh, just my desk. Anyway, okay.
Okay, so we
It's
got
very
a
open.
5 and 2 7s. I would probably give this a 6, I think. I really like the style and I think the vibes are really good. And I think that anytime the office space feels nice, then you're more likely to get people to want to come in. However, I'm worried about two things. One is that there's no soft surfaces. So if you're on a call, everyone is going to hear everything. It's going to bounce and be sharp and it's going to be awful. And the other thing is that it looks like glare would be a huge problem, especially for this desk on the right here. And that's no fun.
Yeah, I don't even see any shutters. So you couldn't even close it if you wanted to when the sun's like right there.
Crazy. All right, ready for number 2?
Again, that's like the bunk bed vibes. But it's got greenery, so that's cool. High air quality.
Very open. Similar vibes to the previous one. But it seems like there's, an area where you can get up from your desk and print and make copies. So accessibility is there. I give it a 7.
I'll give this one a 6.
7.
I'm going to go 8. I'm just seduced by greenery, apparently.
Yeah, the greenery is why I upped the score of 1 point.
Yeah. It does look like there are more nooks and crannies to get away here too, off to the right, plus the greenery and then the light. I think I would like to work here. I think this would be cool.
There's
All
got
right,
to be lamps everywhere.
Yeah.
Why did that room even need those lamps? There was the windows. Anyways.
Yeah, no, screw that room. Okay, Melanie, I think you could get some double monitors in here.
Yeah, this gives bad vibes for me. This is like a solid 2.
Solid
This
2.
is like call center vibes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the privacy things though. I love those. You can adjust the shutter to the window. But yeah, those fluorescent lights, the lack of personality. I'm still going to give it a 6 though.
A
Yeah.
2 and a 6.
I give it a 4. To me, it's like missing some plans and some life. But I do like how it is like closer in space. You can, if you need to do some heads down work, it's there. I don't feel like my whole monitor is exposed to everyone behind me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an underrated aspect for sure of this versus the other ones. I probably am going to go with a 4 as well. Does look like you could have some natural light from these windows, but overall too sterile. This is looks like it's in the middle of a city. It's another open concept, but I just wanted to get people's thoughts here. I like the exposed brick personally, just from a vibes perspective. So this one for me is probably a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, this one is basically the same as the second one. Say a 7.
I'd give it a 7 as well. Like, I would personally work in this environment too, being next to a window, or if I want to get some shade. It looks nice.
I think I'm going to give this one a 6. It is very attractive. I feel like it's similar to the one that was a couple of back, but I just feel like maybe it's a little bit more broken up. It's open, but it's a little bit more broken up than that one was. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I think it's slightly better than that one. And at least, yeah. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah, I think I also am definitely swayed by the fact that it looks like there's a, really, really nice second wave coffee chain around the corner, just on the looks of the street outside for sure.
Yeah, probably a good location.
Yeah, I don't like this one because windows should not be reserved for executives and meetings. Employees deserve windows too. This is my message to the bourgeoisie.
I love that. The marketing proletariat showing up again.
Yeah, this is a 2. This is a 2. It has all the ugly of some of the ugly offices without the function. So it's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I hope this office space doesn't watch this video.
Yeah. I'm in the 2 camp as well. Maybe a 1, maybe a 0.
Yeah, I don't even know how, all right, maybe this should be a 1 because I'm trying to picture like what would make this worse.
The desks are so close together. It's like trying to do work on an airplane seat.
Melanie, you can't give this that low of a rating. They've got a filing cabinet for you.
They do have a filing cabinet. All right, you're right. If they didn't have the filing cabinet, they would get a 1. They got the filing cabinet. Those chairs look like awful too. Ugh. And what is going on with their wall? Is that they're trying to do like some sort of textured paint? That's not going to save you. Mm-mm.
It's
Erika?
a 2.
It's a 2?
A solid 2. Maybe a 1. It just gives me like cold vibes. I wouldn't personally want to be in that office.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. All right, that was our game. I'm glad that we played our first game on here. That was good. Thank you for watching another episode of B2TEA. If you like this and want to learn more about Movius, you can check us out here by subscribing to our YouTube channel.